So I checked myself in for a little bit to a hospital because I had to sit still because my thoughts were just too bad. And when I was in there, I just cried, bro. For like, I realized I was crying about so much stuff, bro. I was crying about everything. From, like I said, from when I was like 6, 7 years old, all the homies that died, I went to their funerals and didn't cry. It came out. All the siblings, family members, everything. I never cried. It was like 20 years plus of crying was finally all coming out, coming out, coming out. My blueprint of love has always been my mother and father.
Mm-hmm.
They're still together, and they've been together my whole life. So that's always been my understanding of like how love's supposed to look, and that's my point of reference.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
They're married. They're
Mhm.
married. Okay.
Yeah.
How long were they married, or how long had they
They've
been
been
married?
married 37 years. I want to say 37 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What did you take from that blueprint at a young age?
Um, that marriage is forever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the it changes as you experience love yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think my biggest takeaway from just watching them has been God has to be the cornerstone of any dynamic of love.
Well, if you
If
can
we're gonna say
remember,
that,
if you can
yeah.
remember when you were a kid, like what were you
It
seeing
was God,
as a
church.
God as a kid?
Yeah, we prayed together. It was
Wow.
God. I understood that like my mom follows my dad lead, and my dad follows God's lead, and that's why my mom follows my dad's lead. So like I saw that young, and I
Mm-hmm.
understood like, and my dad always like hammering all this stuff into me from a young age. So I was in the truck next to him until I was able to go to school. Then when I was in school, after school, I'm with him all day. So he would like be talking about this stuff early.
Yeah.
Mm.
What's one of those, and I'm still gonna stick here, but I do want to know one of those things that really stuck to you from the young age that your daddy might have told you while y'all was riding on those roads and stuff.
We was riding, we would be riding like back and forth to junkyards. You know what I'm saying? He was first starting the shop. So we'd be all across Kansas City picking up tires, junkyards, scrap metal, all that stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
We'd be riding down the highway, and he'll be like, "Hey, count every street light you see until I tell you stop." So I'll be, I'm a little kid. I'm looking out the window, counting all the street lights. Okay, 1, 2, 3, and he'd just ride 10 minutes, still counting the street lights, and I tell him how many street lights, and he'd be like, "Okay." He was like, "Do you know that every one of those street lights makes a light bulb?"
Uh-huh.
And he was like, I was like, "Yeah, okay." He was like, "You want to sell the light bulb to people." And I just always remembered that concept of like, there's things in this world. And he explained to me, he's like, there's things in this world that you can just provide on like mass quantities. And he was just teaching me about selling stuff. So I remember just counting them street lights. And then he was like, "Okay, now count how many cars you see." And then I counted all the cars. He was like, "Now each one of those cars got 4 tires on it." And then he just like gave me the whole spiel about like how you'll never run out of business selling tires. You know what I mean? So he would teach me like entrepreneurship, stuff like that. I'd ask him to sell candy in school. I remember I asked him to sell candy for my 4th, 5th grade, and he was like almost offended. He was like, "Nah, I'm gonna take you to Sam's Club." He said, "I'm gonna start you with like 25, 30 bucks. I'm gonna buy you these boxes of candy."
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, "You're going to sell these bars of candy for yourself. You're going to come down to the shop and sell them to the customers." And, I did that. And I would want to spend the money. He was like, "No, you can't spend the money because you got to go buy some more." So it was like, those are the earliest things I remember of like, riding with him, those types of conversations.
Oh, okay. So when I asked that, I was talking about like in a loving,
Oh, in
like
love?
in love, like some of the things he might have taught you
Oh,
about love
love.
when riding with him.
You know what's funny? I don't think my dad really talked to me a lot about love. He talked to me about love in the context of like what the Bible says,
Yeah.
but not. Um, it was more so like don't have sex till you get married. It was just like don't have sex till you get married. It was if you like a little girl, she need to be in the church too, so you're not unequally yoked. But it wasn't no like for real conversations as a kid about like love like that.
Anything from mama?
We told each other we loved each other. That's
Okay.
But yeah,
So
not that I can recall any specific thing.
so going into school with your father telling you that he's got to like a little girl that's in church and all of that stuff. Like, how did you take that going into elementary? Because we like girls, but that's considered puppy love and stuff. So, did you feel like you couldn't talk to a girl that wasn't?
I didn't talk to him about liking girls. Like I was like, you too young. You need to focus on your studies and da 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 da. So it wasn't even nothing where I could come home and be like, oh, I like this little girl at school, because it's like, for what? What y'all gonna do? You know what I'm saying? Like that was the energy of it was just very, very like no kissing, no nothing, because it turned into a baby. Like that was the energy always. So I didn't really we didn't have that type of relationship where I could tell him I like this little girl at school.
But you did you like little girls
Oh, yeah,
at
for
school?
sure.
At school?
Mm-hmm.
So how did you entertain them at school?
Yeah, you know, writing a little letters,
yeah.
yes or no's, drawing them stuff, little stuff like that. But yeah, I think the first time like they knew, like, okay, he got a little girlfriend, I was probably in like hell high school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I had you know female friends that I go over their house and they be like, y'all ain't doing nothing.
Yeah.
You know, and we was actually platonic. Like I think I probably didn't lose my virginity till I was like 18, 19.
Yeah.
I was really trying to wait till I got married. So
Really.
I wasn't really super focused on girls like that.
Back to those letters though.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever get turned down? And can you remember what that felt like?
I kind of do. I feel like I was like in the 4th or 5th grade, and me and this dude, we both like the same girl.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, I don't know if she said no or what. I think she was really just like, I ain't worried about boys right now.
Yeah.
Like she was focused on whatever she's supposed to be focused on. I pray my daughter's like that.
Right. So that was like your first time feeling rejection from
yeah, I think so.
Yeah. You probably don't remember how it made you feel though, right?
I don't. When you a kid, you just
I
rub some
remember-
dirt and keep it pushing.
Nah, shit. When I was in elementary talking to this, thought you loved her. Elementary, I think we started talking in like 1st grade and ended in 4th grade, and then 5th grade we ended, and then the 4th grader took her from me.
Oh, the older guy?
No, I was in 5th grade.
Oh, you was in 5th grade.
And she was in 5th grade. Then the little 4th grader took her from me. Hurt. Nigga wanted to fight. We was supposed to meet up after school and fight and everything. Little dude named Johnny, I remember him too. He's a pretty boy too.
Mm-hmm.
Really nice looking little dude though. So yeah, I remember that. So I can remember feeling crushed from that. And I think dealing with that made it hard for me to just like approach women. And but I had other people approaching for me, but you know what I'm saying? Like
my friend like you?
Yeah.
Or call on a 3-way?
Yeah, that type. Or wait till they like me, till I know they like me or something, like your friend coming up to me. Mm-hmm. So, but I never really approached women no more after that because I feel like I got broke in elementary.
Dang, that was early.
That's crazy.
You learned some good game early on though.
Yeah.
Like who like you?
Like
out the gate.
Like who like you?
Like who like you?
Yeah. And like I said, I had those examples of like family matters and stuff, seeing that boy get turned down all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So
oh man, Urkel
was getting turned down all the time. But luckily we get a good mix when we get to see Fresh Prince being a player.
Mm-hmm.
and Martin, running his relationship how he running. So and then you get the Huxtables with that marriage or whatever. So you learn to mix all of those together and get what you get. When you get to middle school, though, is that when these women start to develop a little more.
Yeah, it was always older girls. It was this older girl that always it was crazy. We was younger, we was outside. Like you just go out for the day and come back at night. So my parents ain't know I was at like you'll ride the bike like 50 miles somewhere, So we was it was an older girl that always would like try to get me to come over her house. Mind you, I'm so green, bro. I ain't I wasn't thinking about that. Yeah, so we'd be over there and I remember her parents wasn't like really super present like that. And we was over there. I remember we was listening to R. Kelly. It's the first time I heard what's the one with the red cover? The TP2?
I think it was black and red, right?
Or is it R?
12 play. Was it 12 play?
Whatever it was. I just remember they had that big stereo system. We sitting there listening to R. Kelly. And like, I ain't think nothing of it. I'm just listening to some music, whatever. But I got older. I'm like, why was we sitting listening to R. Kelly? Her mom was somewhere in the house. You know what I'm saying?
Which is crazy.
And I'm like, what? So I remember that. And then I remember eventually going upstairs and she liked to wrestle. That's what it was. It was like play fighting. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I remember that. That's when it started getting all like that.
Yeah. So you trying to keep from going there because you trying to wait till you're married. You got what your dad and your mom put in you, but then you got R. Kelly and them playing on and I'm sure it wasn't just R. Kelly. It was just a host of different R&Bs. You hearing throughout middle school?
I used to not listen. No, here's what's up, bro. I was so like, I was a church kid for real. I was very serious about it. It's kind of traumatic if we talk about it because we be traumatizing these kids in church. Where if I heard any loud noise, I thought it was a rapture. You know what I'm saying? Like any loud, like, oh, Jesus coming back, Lord forgive me. Like I was like that. So it'd be records like on an album I'd be listening to. If it was overtly sexual, I would skip it because I just didn't want to.
Yeah.
It just felt dirty to me, so I didn't listen to it. But yeah, so that's kind of how it was. It wasn't really a big struggle to me because I was like, I don't want to go to hell.
Really? Okay, so middle school wasn't nothing. And when you got to high school, it still wasn't a struggle.
By the time I got to high school, I was so locked in on, I had it like cemented in my head. I was like, I'm going to be a millionaire by the time I graduate. So a lot of girls like me because I was, at the time doing music and they would hear me singing in the hallway and I'm selling CDs and stuff. So, and dudes would be jealous and be like, he's singing to get the girl.
Worse.
And I wasn't necessarily like, I was so laser focused on being a star that I did not, you had to have like your head had to be a microphone. If a girl head was a microphone, then she can get my time. Other than that, or she had to be buying my CD. And that's how ate up I was with music. So I didn't even, I had a girlfriend. I remember she got mad because she was like, do you like me? Because you don't ever try to do nothing with me. Da, 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 da. And I was just like, nah, I was just somewhere else. I was just somewhere else with it. And yeah, I'm trying to think. I had some girls I liked in high school, but I was just more focused on music.
What did the homies say to you, like when you were? Because I would imagine you had homies around you.
Yeah, we was all crazy though. We was all locked in, like, so we was all right. My brother, my best friend, was one of the best hoopers in the district.
Okay.
So he was like me. That's why we was best friends, because it's like we was just obsessed with being great at what we was doing. So he was one of the best hoopers, and then when we discovered rap, it changed everything. Like I remember one time we rapped for like, I feel like we rapped for like 24 hours straight one time, bro. Freestyling. Just the homie came over, who opened the door while we rapping. Hey, so-and-so came over and we put in the rhyme, go up. So we would do stuff like that. We wouldn't really be super focused, but a lot of girls liked us, and we would mess with them here and there, but like we was just super focused on being the guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and doing what we wanted to do. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy because you go through high school. I mean, damn near your whole young life, younger life, not tripping on women like that. But then you finally get to one as far as like get that taste of. You said you lost it at 18, right?
Yeah.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Somewhere around there.
Uh-huh.
I can't imagine how you felt losing your. I lost mine at that time, but I still was in the girls like heavy.
Let me think. I feel like that's whenever I was getting super out of pocket. I was wilding then. That's when I started
Yeah.
wilding. Like here, so after high school, like I gave it like a year at JUCO, and then I went on tour. So that's when it all, you know what I mean, it went crazy. And but before I went on tour, before I went on my first tour, me and my girlfriend had broke up because I had cheated on her. And I was so heartbroken because I just felt like because my best friend, you know what I'm saying? Since we was in kindergarten. So once that happened, I was heartbroken. And then I'm on the road with like everybody else on tour with 15, 20 years older than me. You know what I'm saying? I'm the baby. I'm 19.
Yeah.
They like, little nigga.
Yeah.
You don't even know. I remember the first day. Matter of fact, Snug Brim was on the first tour with me. Scatterman and Snug Brim. And Snug was like, just like laughing at me, like, because I was just like, nah, I'm focused on da-da-da-da-da-da. He just like, boy, he looked over at everybody on the bus, said, give him 5 days.
Give him 5 days. 5 days is crazy.
But yeah, that's whenever I really started getting in the mix.
You think it was, you know how they say the PKs go
Repression.
wild and stuff. So once you feel that for a little bit, that's what makes you start just going crazy. Because first of all, I ain't gonna say this been hid from you all your life, but like it's been a mystery to you all your life. And once you get it, it's like, sheesh.
Yeah, and I think part of it too, like, when I was younger, you know what I'm saying, like 7, 8, there was some abuse that I think made it to where I viewed sexuality as something completely like, you know what I'm saying? It just, so there was also that to where, I don't know, it took me like a long time to figure out, you know, how that impacted me and my view on autonomy in my body and like that intimate space. You know what I mean? But this isn't something you can articulate in your 20s or hell, for me, in my early 30s. You know what I mean? It was something that like I had to do a lot of work and like sit with a therapist, and they do this thing where they like take you. I can't remember what it's called, but it's like a buzzer. They go back and forth between your hands while they're talking to you about memories, and then you work through them. And like it took a lot of work, but yeah, yeah.
Psychoanalyze. So when you think back to it now, how did you break that?
Break what?
Break the fact that you're dealing with this maybe sexual abuse.
No, I didn't. I didn't break that for, like I said, till 2020, like 2020. So this is like all my 20s, like in like beginning of my 30s. And I knew it was something that needed to be addressed, but it's like certain traumas can happen where you I feel like it's a way to protect yourself almost, where you forget it. Like you put it somewhere you don't even think about. Like if you ever seen, like I saw like dead bodies, I seen my sibling die, I seen all kind of stuff that was so crazy that until and then if your family doesn't talk about it, it's not gonna come back up. So it's like you put it somewhere just, and then you do other stuff so you don't have to think about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, for me, going on tour was like, now when I look back at it, like when I was 18, the best thing for me would have been like therapy then.
Yeah.
Instead of therapy, you go on tour. And there's no rules on tour. It's hypersexual, it's drugs, it's party, it's everything nonstop. And you got a backstage pass around your neck. So it's not even just like going to college. It's like, nah, this is a different ball game for sure.
So kind of getting over that hump where that's not keeping you from having a sexual experience. It was probably the tour life and the environment of it and the peer pressure. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because it didn't keep you from doing it up till 2020. You was doing it before. So
Yeah.
something kind of got you over that hump a little bit, and it might have still been in your mind. I ain't saying it wasn't in your history.
I wonder.
But
I'm trying to think. What was it? I don't think it was a thought though. I'm still a man and a young man in my 1920. So it was just I think I just seen a super bad chick in the crowd doing too much eyeballing.
Too much eyeball.
Let me holler at Shrek.
Yeah.
That's probably what it was.
You self-proclaimed big lover or really big lover?
No, now I can for sure say with my chest, like for real, big lover.
Big lover.
Yeah.
What does big lover entail?
Within the context of an album title,
Or just if you call yourself that, what does that entail in life, like in relationships? How do you become a big lover?
I think that it's an innate sense you already have as a person. Some people are born without empathy, without the ability to care about people. I think the inverse is people who are very empathetic and very caring. It's like a spectrum, and I think the higher, more evolved you become on the spectrum, the more that the love that you radiate gets put into everything you do. So
Okay.
I think like as a big lover at its highest form is understanding that you're here to give to others. And you can do that without depleting yourself due to your understanding of love, loving yourself, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But a big lover can be, like you said, people that you make somebody your whole world, or you look at people as projects that you just want to fix and all these different things. But that's on the beginning phases. That's not a sustainable way to do it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And big lover is having that thing in you that you just want to give love. You want to pour into people. You want to make sure people are okay. You got to learn to do that for yourself though too. Yeah. That's when you big dog.
Let's talk about the stages of it though, like from approaching that one that you see as being your partner now versus when you wasn't so knowledgeable about it. You get what I'm saying?
Even the word approaching kind of made me like,
Say it again.
Even the concept of approaching, I'm like, it's about what's in alignment with what God has for me to do. So now I understand that I'm him, like you're not supposed to say that. You're not supposed to know that you're the guy, that you are something special, that you are desirable, because people say, oh, that's arrogant, that's cocky, too, da da da. But I love me. And with that comes, a lot of people are going to want your time and energy. A lot of women are going to want you because you're carrying yourself by a certain standard. You move a certain way. You conduct yourself a certain way. And there's nothing wrong with owning that. Whereas before, if you grow up in a neighborhood where you see people keep getting killed and shot, you're watching the news, you see the way that the society treats black men, you don't value yourself enough to love yourself.
Yeah.
So you're entering these interactions with like, I got this feeling like I like you or I love you. But you don't even think that like I'm supposed to get back the same energy. You don't think I'm supposed to get back the same like effort. You know what I mean? I'm just happy to be here. You know what I mean? Like that's how a lot of my interactions earlier on were just like, I want to provide value to you so that, I feel like I'm upholding my part of the bargain, or like it's like a understanding that you're worthy.
Yeah.
And I think that's what changes. And it's tough to get to that point whenever everything around you is showing you like either your life has no value due to you might get into it with some dudes overstepping on your shoes and they ready to kill you that quick. So it's like, they told me I ain't got no value. Society's treating me like I have no value. And even like within a context of just masculinity, it's like you go to war, your life is disposable, frontline gone, who cares? It's just like you're taught to jump on a grenade because that's what you're here for and that's it. You don't get this understanding that like, nah, you supposed to be loved. They supposed to like treat you nice. You know, even as men were raised like, I was taught how to treat women for sure. You open the door and you don't do this and you do that. Like nobody taught me how I'm supposed to get treated ever.
That's a bar.
So it's
For
like,
sure.
but guess what? I wouldn't even know what I like about how to be treated because I had no concept of that I'm supposed to be treated nice too. So it's like I had to love myself and understand that like I'm worthy of reciprocity.
Yeah.
So that's what changed between then and like now.
But you had to think you were supposed to receive something on the other end, though. What do you feel like you were supposed to receive at that time? You get what I'm saying?
Like when I was younger.
Yeah. Before you got to loving yourself,
Mm-hmm.
you said they didn't teach you what you were supposed to receive as far as like how you were supposed to look. You know what I'm saying? Like you had to feel like in order to break up with different girls, you had to feel like you were supposed to
The
receive
only
something.
the reason why I would break up with girls is because they was in the way of my like music stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Or I would feel like I'm gonna hurt you because I'm about to go back on tour again, or I just don't have time. So that would be it. But it was never really a thing with like a girl not meeting my standard or like because I didn't have one. Like when I tell you, I really like it was just like I wanted to know like okay, if I like her, I can get her.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I wasn't thinking with the mind of uh this is who I'm gonna build a family with. I'm young. I'm not even thinking about I didn't even know I was going I didn't visualize myself old until I was like damn near 30. It's just like I never saw myself living to be a middle-aged man.
Really?
Yeah. So it just wasn't there. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah. So when you get into these situations and you start to feel like when you say this is nothing ordinary, what do you mean when you say this is nothing ordinary?
Oh, nothing ordinary is that's that first you see her, she see you,
Mm-hmm.
and it's I guess they call it like the honeymoon phase. You know what I mean? The honeymoon phase is, oh, let me put you up on this one little restaurant over here. Let me take you to this little jazz club here. Let me show you all the things, it's like the mating ritual basically.
Yeah.
Where you showing like you secure, I got this and you don't have to worry about this and da 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 da, which I think is natural. I think it's natural to do. But on that record though, I think it's like over the top. That's why it's so upbeat and it's so like colorful. You know what I mean? Because that's how it feels. It feels like I feel like we all do this. Men and women do this whenever we enter that like first date. She walking with that special little sway in front of you. You know what I'm saying? She got on the dress that's fit a certain way. You got your 4 buttons open. You know what I'm saying? Like yeah. So that's the energy of nothing ordinary.
Yeah. And when we leave from nothing ordinary to the next phase, how do we get from there to there? Because yeah, we take these women out and try to show them all that we can show them or whatever, but somehow they stick. One person sticks. If you date, let's just say you dating multiple people, one of them gonna stick.
Yeah.
How does this person stick? What makes them stick to you to where you're like, oh yeah, I think this is kind of real. I want to do something else with this.
It's a different answer for me now than it was when I did the album. You know what I
Both.
mean?
Both.
So early on, it's like we get the best representative of a person out the gate.
Yeah.
So whatever that best representative gives us, if it aligns with the thing that we highly value, then yeah, it's like okay, cool. Like, oh, she prayed with me. She went to church with me. You know what I mean? She might cook, she might do whatever thing you value. Whereas now, she just gotta be in alignment with what I'm doing. Like, if let's say I'm in real estate, I would expect that I probably find my woman at a real estate conference. You know what I'm saying? Like, or whatever my purpose is. Like, let's say my purpose is to be an educator, to teach children or something. I would find her while I'm pursuing my purpose. She might not even be in the same field, but somewhere along the line, she's gonna present herself. That's how I feel like it would come. But yeah, I don't think you ever like For real, no. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no one thing that somebody does that's gonna just be like, yeah, this the one. It'd be tight though. People who say that, I love it for them. You know what I'm saying? But for me, it's like I'm kind of skeptical. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, so do you think you're difficult to figure out
Nah,
as far as love?
I don't think I'm difficult. I think, um, I think for me it's about consistency. So like, whatever you giving on that first date, whatever that energy is on that first date,
Yeah.
you can do the thing that you think you're supposed to do. You can talk the way you think you're supposed to talk. Especially with social media, bro. Like, even if, especially being an artist with social media, if you're an artist, number one, people know a lot about you. Number two, if in your art, you're very personal. You talk about intricate things,
Yeah,
and you're not
yeah.
doing it to be a commercial, but you're doing it literally to be relatable to people who might not be able to verbalize the things you say in your music. So if somebody can study all that, you know what I mean? It's like, but is it in you for real? And that's something that time shows you. You're gonna really need to see, how do you treat your mom and dad? How do you treat your friends? And that's something you're not gonna know until you've been through ups and downs. How do you behave when you just took a big L? How do you act whenever you just had 100 cages hit your bank account? Like, I gotta see you in all seasons.
Yeah.
So that's why I said it's nothing that like you just know.
You ever seen the show Love Is Blind?
I've heard about it.
Yeah.
It's like people date with a barrier between them or something, and then they
Yeah.
marry each other before they see each other.
For a few weeks, I guess they doing it for.
Mm-hmm.
Do you believe you can get to, or do you have to really see the person before you learn to love them? Before you think you could really love them? Do you feel like you could sit on one side of a wall and they're on the other side of the wall and really fall in love with somebody without actually seeing them?
I think you could fall into a level of love because it's different kinds of love. We got love amongst each other as brothers. We got love for humans.
Yeah.
You got love for your family, love for your woman. So it's like, yeah, I can fall in some layers of love, but like that,
In love with somebody you want to be,
that
you may want to
lifetime
be
love,
with.
and I ain't never seen you.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I think I might be too shallow for that. Like,
At least you honest. At least you doesn't. That's
because you come around that curtain looking like Quasimodo. I'm like, hey,
yeah.
my dog.
It could, and I done seen it a few times, and I'm like, oh my God, I hope they don't. I hope they still love this person when they see them. It don't always work like that. It don't. So, and you see a lot of the times when they finally meet up with each other, they have no sexual attraction to them or nothing. They don't, when they go on this trip, they're just like, one is playing as a friend and one is trying to really get there with the other person.
So awkward. See, but they go back to what I was saying. Before you have a set of standards for yourself that you stand on and say, hey, I'm worthy of a fine woman.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going. That's cool. I love your personality, but I don't have to do that. Like, but I believe before I was in that space where like, well, nah. There's just no reason to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Life is too abundant. There's too many other. You just don't have to do that. Like, and I used to feel bad about that. Like the idea of I want what I want.
Yeah.
And that's why you wind up in situations that are trash because a red flag looked like an opportunity for you to be like, oh God, if you're praying to practice good stewardship over blessings that are sent to you, you'll be looking at red flags and looking at it as an opportunity to rise to the occasion. That was like a huge problem I had where I'm in the right place. Like spiritually, I'm praying, I'm serious about it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wanting this thing. And I'm like, God, if this ain't for me, let me know. The fact that I'm asking God, the fact I'm even saying this prayer, I already know. You see what I'm saying? But a lot of times we be trying to force a situation. We be trying to, okay, I just need to be a more humble of a man. I just need to be, more like Corinthians. And whole time it's like, no, this just ain't for you.
So you don't think because if I'm getting what you're saying, right, like once you see a red flag or a few red flags, you should just know that's your exit point?
Yeah, for sure.
So you don't feel like there's nothing to fight for, even if you see a red flag.
Not doing no fighting.
That's pretty deep.
Now, a red flag is different than something that's being worked on by the other person.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like a red flag is like stop. It's not a yellow flag. It ain't a green light. It's stop. You know what I mean? So yeah, no, I don't do red flags.
Can you kind of give me an example of what you mean? Let's just put a situation out there, maybe like not a real situation in your life, probably.
Yeah, I think like a red flag is like you go out to eat.
Okay.
Let's say you take a woman out to eat, and she's disrespectful to the waiter.
Okay.
It's done.
Right there.
Let's say the same woman is winning on all other fronts. She's a great person, good people, and she has poor money management skills. It's a yellow flag. Like that's something that now those money management skills being bad can be just like I feel like I never have enough money to do what I want to do, or it could be like, you know, you're a scammer, or you're like that's a red flag. So everything has people have bad days, but there's certain things that's just like it's the fundamental principle of it. That's like there's nothing. Yeah. So when I see something there's like a principle issue, like you don't know how to treat people, you don't we don't believe in the same things.
Yeah.
And even like financially, that can there's some red flags financially too, because when you're dating with the intent to marry and build a family, y'all gonna have to communicate about money and have the same understanding of how to make sure that your kids have something. So there could be red flags there too.
So are we speaking more at the beginning then? Because like if you've already built, like you didn't see these red flags yet throughout the relationship.
You be seeing them though.
Huh?
Me personally, when I look back, I saw them. The issue is I saw them.
They tried to.
So here's the context. Like when I finally got to the point of being serious about dating, I was coming off of like fasts and like I'm in my word. I'm practicing abstinence and like all these different things because I'm like I need to be worthy of the woman that I'm asking God for. Yeah. So like on paper, if I wrote down this woman who does this and looks like this and carries herself this way, and I mean she's perfect, she's everything. Now look at myself, I'm just like, why would she date me if I can't match that? So I spent time in that space. And as men, especially as like fixer provider, you're going into it with this like I'm going to make this work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's why there were things that were red flags, but I'm like, God's using it to grow me. You know, like I've had stuff happen in a relationship that caused me to have to really get back right with God because I felt like I was going into it pure. I'm serious, but I also had to learn, the accountability of, like I said, you was praying about a sign whole time. You already had your sign. You didn't trust your discernment. So, you can go into situations as a man thinking that, I could fix this.
Yeah.
Or this is an opportunity for me to learn more patience or learn more learn more If you haven't established a sense of like love for yourself and standards for yourself, your bar is going to be in hell. And you're going to be taking everything as a chance to grow. The whole time it's like, no, this is destroying you.
Yeah. When it comes to the sexual part of it, you think sexual plays a big part of us taking what we take? If you have sex way too early, you're willing to take a little more because you're addicted to how that person give it up. And it's hard for you to let that person go. But versus if you didn't have the sexual part, you may be willing to let it go a little earlier.
For me personally,
go ahead.
For me personally, because of, like I said, I have years where I'm just kind of like, I was disgusted with myself because I was just doing too much. I was lit. So I know that sex is abundant. It's not hard to have sex. Mm-hmm. It's not hard to find a woman that wants to have sex with you. So that doesn't really hold a lot of weight for me.
Yeah, but it's ways you make love to certain people. You know what I'm saying? Like different ways to have sex with certain people.
Oh
Certain people
yeah,
put a different thing,
tantric.
put a
Yeah,
different thing on you than you
if you
ever.
know about like tantric sex and soul ties and y'all
Yeah,
speaking
yeah,
affirmations while y'all, yeah. But see, you got to chill. That's why you got to know how to love yourself before you get to the
yeah,
deep end, because you get to the deep end
yeah,
and now you know what I mean. Yeah, I know that that's the thing. Though I know that that's something that happens because on a biological level, there's chemicals doing stuff in our bodies that cause us to feel closer to each other, um, because of sex. So yeah, that's the thing, and that's why it's important to be sexually disciplined for sure. Definitely a major key, because I have seen people put up with a lot because they was thinking with the wrong head.
yeah. And before, because I do want to get to the part of like building this love from the bottom. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? To the top to make it stand strong. But I want to touch on like when you say Shorty pulled a me on me,
Oh yeah, yeah.
like those type of times when you actually see stuff shoot back in your face. You get shot back in
Yeah.
your face.
Me on Me was funny, man. A lot of women love that record. You know what I'm saying? I was just like, why y'all like this record so much? You know what I
Mhm.
mean? But like, it's got a karmic element to it because there's things that you grow past. You kind of go back to what I was saying earlier. Like, just because you've gotten to a certain point in life and you're taking things serious now, that don't mean everybody else is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it was just like I was thinking about in that record how there's certain stuff that I used to do when I was full of it. You know what I'm saying? When I was playing, and then you kind of peep it later on, and be like, "Damn, this how I make people feel. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Damn, I was trash. That was horrible." Like, and then at the same time, you're super offended because, like, nigga, if we really wanted to do this, like, if we really about to play games,
Yeah.
but that's not where I'm at. You know what I mean? And I think it's part of our society right now. A lot of women are uh, finding this sense of empowerment in detachment that was traditionally just for men.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and however, people feel all kind of different ways about it, but I understand it because if you if you feel like it's gonna help you to stop getting hurt so much, you know, that's what's happening a lot. And I think any human being is capable of being on some bull and being manipulative.
Yeah.
Period. So I just think societally we lean into these old tropes that might not necessarily be as accurate as we think they are, and then you'd be surprised. You know what I mean? So yeah, Me on Me is funny though. That's and it works in the other way too, because like dating, I met women that have like kind of like came on to me and were more assertive, and I'm just like,
Mm-hmm.
damn, okay, you doing it like that? All right, cool. Take me on a date. Let's go. You know what I'm saying? Like, all right, this is cool. You know what I mean? But it could work both ways.
Yeah, how did that feel though? How does that feel when like the woman is more assertive and
I don't. I don't necessarily like. I'm not gonna say I feel one way or the other about it. I think that it depends on the woman and what the energy is. You know what I mean? Because I think I love feminine women, and there's a way that feminine women shoot their shot and take initiative to let hey, they feeling you, versus kind of like I don't want to say the wrong thing, like power pantsuit, like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
super
Got you.
like Fortune 500
Uh
regimented, like, and that's cool too. It just don't work for me. And what I've found is like a lot of times, um, givers give and takers take, right? So a lot of times when I've encountered women that are kind of like that, they have a track history of dealing with lazy men.
yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because they looking at like, the type of dude that'll call her big money. Like it's like that
Mm-hmm.
energy. And that ain't my thing. So it's certain stuff to where, it just doesn't work for me because I'm just not I don't know. Sometimes I be used to talking to them a certain way. That it's just like, I don't need a place to live. You know what I mean? And then on the feminine side, it's like there's also like, I don't know, it's like healing, like nurturing. Hey, let's go do yoga. Hey, let's, that's a date too. So
Yeah.
I be appreciating that too. But I think it depends on the person.
Yeah. It probably, I mean, if you can learn to balance that out,
Mhm.
like she do it sometime, you do it sometime.
I love that. I
Yeah.
love a like, hey babe, let's go do this little thing over here, and then I pick the thing that like it's a group effort. It's
Mm-hmm.
like teamwork make the dream work. So I
Mm-hmm.
like that too. Rigid, like being rigid about anything. You got your core principles, but being too rigid about certain stuff, I don't think is gonna
Yeah.
work. Unless you got somebody else who's super rigid too, then that might work. Y'all could be robotic together, but I'm not super rigid like that.
I mean, especially being a man who's spiritual and know God, we say this all the time. You have to die to yourself, like
Oh my
some. And
God.
if
Yeah.
she got to do some dying, you got to do some dying too in order for it to work. It can't be all your way.
Right.
But going back to um the women taking on the men's role, not necessarily approaching you, but pulling a me on me.
Mhm.
Is there a level of understanding for that too? When you think about all the years of how we did them,
Yeah, yeah.
basically.
I say there's a level of understanding, not with that, not with the woman. It's a level of understanding within myself.
Talk to me.
Well, I mean, if we have established a certain way that we gonna move,
Mm-hmm.
then that's what I'm expecting from you.
Yeah.
And if you step outside of that, then just keep it pushing. It ain't gonna work. Um, but within myself, I believe the way if you believe in karma, the way that it hits, it don't hit when you see it coming.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You got to be
Or
off
you'll be
guard.
able to
You
block
got to
the
be
shit.
lacking. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's
dude.
like, it ain't going to hit within 2 years of you being an
Yeah.
F-boy. No, it's got to wait till you grown and you serious now.
And you
It's like,
comfortable.
get that
they
like,
got
now. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So that's how it works. And I get it. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta just sit back and feel it. And I feel like me personally as an artist, as a person who asked God for a platform, sometimes I be feeling like God want me to get all the like, you want to get up here and say all this stuff to people. Let me make sure you know what you're talking about. So you need to know what this feel like. You need to know what this feel like. You need to, and I think that's just that's a a load that I chose to carry when I said I want to do what I do for a living. You know what I mean? And use my gift how I do. So kind of come with the game.
Yeah, and I see now most of them, a lot of them, I ain't gonna say most, a lot of them are a lot like we were as men towards them. So they take on that old hot girl summer type stuff,
Oh yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
hot girl role and stuff. But I believe like a lot of that is because us. And it's
So
hard to trust us like even more now. They finally got somebody to step out and be like, fuck these niggas.
yeah,
We gonna do us.
yeah.
And it's hard to come back down from that. Cause when we was up on that player role, it was hard for us to lead the player role. So I kind
Here's
of
what's funny: when you say we was on the player role, we talking about thousands of years.
yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And they just get started.
Patriarchy has been in existence since the beginning of time. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
like there's a level of understanding because it's like, yeah, patriarchy is real and niggas are vile. Like, this is true. I don't like the concept of like, here's the thing: hurt people will find a thing or a movement to identify with and jump in the car and be all about it.
Yeah.
But I'm like, you hurt. So your perception is warped. Is this a valid cause? Yes. Is patriarchy real? Yes. But the way that you heal and the way that you get to making peace with it is the thing that changed. Because it's just like a dude get his heart broken for the rest of his life. Women ain't nothing forever. Now he never gonna build a family. Now he never gonna, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's like he just as goofy as the woman who's doing the same thing. You know what I mean? So I think that it gets so tricky because with that specifically with women, it is a real thing. Like patriarchy is very real. we all got homeboys who we just like, this nigga is a dog. He a terrible person. Like, I would kill you if you dated my daughter. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I
I got
got a
homies
few
I
of
quit rocking with because of just how they was treating women. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I get it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? But that's not sustainable. At the end of the day, that's not going to help raise healthy black families at all. And it's whooping black people ass. Like this whole battle of the sexes, balloon pop, Kevin Samuels, R.I.P. Kevin Samuels, because he said a lot of dope,
Yeah,
valid
he
shit.
got some good shit, but
he also got out of control. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, but I mean, that whole culture has been whooping us. And there comes a point where it's like, all right, so what we gonna do? Just have no families? We're gonna stop procreating, or we're gonna just keep making people that come from terrible environments because both their parents was unhealed? It's not sustainable.
Yeah. But it's scary though, ain't it? Like maybe not for you, but you can see how it's scary for me. It's scary on both sides. Scary for women because nigga, I didn't been hurt for thousands of years. I'm finally feeling a sense of power. Finally got you niggas like kind of, you know what I mean? And for the men, you've never been hurt before, so that time you do get hurt, it's like
Oh, this
I
ain't supposed to
never want to
happen.
fucking
Everything
feel
in
this
you
again.
tells you this ain't supposed to happen. Your
Yeah.
daddy say that ain't supposed to happen. Your grandpa say it ain't supposed to happen. History show you it ain't supposed to happen. But it's been happening since the beginning of history too, though.
Mm-hmm.
That
Yep.
infidelity and like all that's been happening. The key, I think, is gonna be folks just gotta heal, bro. Like, because you're gonna always have broken homes. And you're gonna always have successful, healthy homes. And you just picking what side of this do I want to be on. Like a lot of what we talk about, we're referencing from what we've seen on social media. But we don't account for the amount of people who don't have any social media. There's people who don't ever log in, who don't ever post on Instagram, on Facebook, and they are living the best life. Some are living bad lives, but we're getting a skewed perception of reality. In addition to, there's agendas that are specifically for black people that we perpetuate a lot that we shouldn't. You know what I'm saying? So it's tricky. A lot of people getting tricked out of their spot, tricked out of a happy family because the work is hard. Like, it takes a lot of work to get to a place where you're able to move forward healthy. Yeah. And nobody wants to do all that work, but it's not sustainable.
Do you feel a heavy responsibility within your art though to send the right message or of how you really believe the love versus chasing a big single or chasing a big hit or whatever? Do you feel responsible to the people who are taking in the music? Because the music that we see now is really making, I mean, it's been all our life, but the player music, all of that stuff, we listen to that and we take to it a lot of time. Even when we're not trying to take to it, we listen to it so much that we. So how is it really important for you to send the right message with the music?
I think it's important for me to send an honest message. An honest message, because as a person, I know I'm striving to get closer to God, to align my art with my sense of purpose. So as long as I'm being honest, because the whole thing is I can come with a record talking about, hey, y'all gotta respect these queens, and hey, I'm doing this, and hey, I'm da-da-da-da. It's like, nigga, shut up. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I just seen you.
Or I could walk y'all through, like my album before this album is Super Bowl Player, because I know people identify with the player archetype.
Mm-hmm.
But when you listen to the album, I'm talking about love on the album. It's called Bold Player because it's a player falling in love. So I know that, like, sometimes you can't package things outright because people shy away from it. They feel like you're preaching to them.
Yeah.
The whole time I'm just talking about my real life. You know what I mean? But do I feel a sense of obligation in my art? I don't want to put anything out there that's like toxic with no resolve. And when I say that, I mean, like, there's toxic moments on this album. Yeah. But there comes a resolve at the end. Because I can't tell you everything's all good or everything's all bad. That's not how life works. Yeah. But I do want to help people find their path. And nobody's path is going to be the same as mine. But you might see parts of my story where you're like, oh, damn, I'm in a situation that's similar to where he was there. What did he do next? Yeah. What parallels? And yeah, so that's the responsibility I do feel in my music, is to, like, tell the truth, be honest, because, and it's not comfortable. It was times during this album I was just like, bro, I don't want to. I almost scrapped this whole album, to be honest.
Yeah.
but I knew I had to just figure out how do I push through it and tell the real story.
Yeah. There's a reason why you would want to scrap the whole album because it's triggering. It connects. Maybe you don't want to hurt somebody hearing this. I don't know. Bleeding. We talk about bleeding.
Keep bleeding.
Keep bleeding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That record right there connects heavy.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of us men won't talk about the times we've got hurt.
You been hurt too?
What? Nigga, what? I know you're trying to play with me.
Black man, your feelings got hurt too? It wasn't just me?
Super hurt, brother.
Bro, you have human emotions?
And it's crazy, right?
Whoa.
Because they act like we don't. Yeah.
Oh my God. I can't believe it.
So those records don't just come because you wanted it to come. God wanted that to come out because we needed to hear that type of stuff. It's scary to tell other people that I've been hurt as a man. Not for me. It's not scary for me.
It's a freeing feeling now.
Yeah. Just people, period. Because a lot of the times, even though your homeboys then went through it, if you tell them, they kind of like, man, get on. There's plenty of women out here. Or, nigga, hey, nigga, what? Nigga, you go tell your pops, what? I don't know how to help you get through that. They may have felt it before, but don't know how to help you get through that. But so a record like that is super important for dudes to understand that it's okay to cry. It's okay to let people know you felt before. Because if you hold that in, you could be very, very dangerous to society. Yeah. So I want you to talk about that a little bit, not the record. I want actually getting a little personal with that. What got you to that point where you just felt like you was bleeding, where you felt like somebody was using your own traumas against you, like you said on the record? To weaponizing them.
Well, Keep Bleeding, the title itself has some layers, because when you enter a relationship unhealed, you can bleed on somebody. When you have a pattern of traumatic experiences, you feel like I just keep bleeding. Whenever you feel like you overextend yourself, you're always giving, you're going to bleed out and you're not going to have nothing left for yourself. So it's like a lot of layers to it. And as you listen to the record, you're going to hear, it getting walked through. And it comes across as it comes across as more, but on the surface, it's the record about a dude got cheated on and he cries on the record. It was ugly, right? But there's trying to think how did I get to that record. This is a blessing that I have to recall these things because there was a time where I could not think about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I just want to take a moment to thank God. Pat myself on the back that I'm having to go back, because I remember there was a time where it's
put that.
I couldn't stop thinking about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's a word. Yeah.
But yeah, so I had got cheated on, but it wasn't that. It was that, like you said earlier, when we don't process our emotion as men, it becomes this pressurized thing that started when you were 6 and kept going until you were 32. So some people, it's like hyperaggression. Dude stepped on your shoe, he shot him and killed him. Damn, bro, that was disproportionate. That didn't make sense that you did all that over him stepping on your shoe, bro. But it wasn't about the shoe.
It was
that man done been through so much stuff that he never processed to where it just takes a small thing. That man on child support and got his kid half the time and still paying child support, and the arrears is killing him. His credit score. So it's like it's so much stuff that that piles up. So for that particular record, in 2020, the pandemic helped us all. We all kind of sat back and found like a chance to breathe and look at our lives like, man, I don't like going to this job every day. This don't make sense. Or I want to get closer to God. I want to read this book. And in the midst of that, it hit me the amount of work I needed to do because I was just really unhappy. You know, I was hurting. I'm going through custody battles, all kinds of, it's all kind of stuff going on. And so I start doing the work, starting to try to figure out therapy, all this stuff. And time goes on a little bit more and I get in this relationship. And before I got in this relationship, I spent so much time like trying to be worthy of a good woman.
And this was while you're doing therapy too. You had already started therapy.
Yeah, I had done therapy in the past, but there was a trauma in therapy that made me cool on therapy. That's a whole nother conversation for Black men. Like, you know, make sure you find a therapist that works for you because therapy, people say therapy ain't for everybody, but I think it comes down to make sure you just talk to the right person. Yeah. And have a strong circle of brotherhood and, you know, good relationship with God. But in the midst of doing all that, you know, I get to this point where, you know, I'm just wanting to be a husband. Like I'm wanting to get into shape to be ready to be a husband. And I'm dead serious. For the first time, well, no, I hadn't had chicks on the side for like years actually. But for the first time, I'm like, I don't have a roster at all. I'm sexually disciplined as I've ever been in my life. I can be with one woman. Monogamy is no problem. You know what I'm saying? So I'm getting into all this stuff. And then my baby brother OD'd. And I had 3 near-death experiences like within 1 year period. And all this stuff was so crazy because it's just like, it was so like, you look up and you're like, what is happening right now? You know what I'm saying? Like, why is all this shit happening right now? It was like crazy stuff that's happening. And while I'm dealing with all this, I've gotten this new relationship and I'm overextending myself to take care of this woman and, you know, pour into her and do all this stuff and working myself to death in my shop. And it's so much stuff going on. And I don't think that anybody's supposed to check on me. I don't talk to anybody when things are falling apart or going left or I'm hurting because I'm trying to just fix. So I get to a point where I'm starting to kind of realize, okay, something's got to give. And I try to end the relationship because of things I was unhappy about. And while I try to end the relationship, you know, you share with your woman. You tell them like you struggle with depression. Yeah. And you know, I've had friends commit suicide. And I was having just dark, bad thoughts. I'm trying to fight through that. So while I'm trying to break up, this person's like threatening to kill themselves if you break up with them. Because they know that's going to appeal to your empathy. Whole time, I'm not voicing that I'm really there. I'm really at that point because I'm just ready to check out. And I'm trying to fight through this, but I'm like, okay, I got to stay strong for this person. Not even for myself. Yeah. Not for myself. Yeah. I got to keep overextending myself for this other person. Yeah. So things got worse. And once you find out you've been putting me through hell for months and been cheating, and I'm already I'm ready to go somewhere else and crash out. For what? And it's just like, so in conjunction with a bunch of other stuff, I got PTSD from like shootings in my youth. A dude came down to the shop and was just like shooting. I had to grab everybody, run them into the back room. He in the parking lot just busting, walking. He was just off, you know what I'm saying? So like, was like, okay, you gotta go to therapy, bro, because it's just like, it was too much. And then there was like I said, there was a couple near-death experiences that happened. I have never had that happen to me before. So I'm fried. My nervous system is fried. But you wouldn't know because I'm still meeting my quotas, making my money, keeping things afloat, raising my daughter. You know, on social media, my relationship looked dope. Everything good. And that was the breaking point. So when I talked about earlier, the disproportionate response, where normally it's just like, okay, whatever, good riddance. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna keep it pushing. To me, it's like everything felt more personalized because it's like, of anybody, I'm not talking to nobody. That's all my friends tell me. Like whenever that record came out, it's like, nigga, I didn't know you had feelings. I didn't know you were capable of emotions, and I didn't either. But the person that was closest to me, that's supposed to be my support system, you know what I'm saying, or at least leave me alone so I could focus and do it on my own, was manipulating me. So I'm just like, it was just a lot at once. And I was in the middle of making this album, and I had already done half the album. And I wanted to make an album that was an ode to Black love and Black relationships to counter this whole battle of the sexes. That's why I started Big Lover. So halfway through this album where I got these love songs, this happened. I go to the studio and I'm looking at my engineer like, nigga, throw that shit away. I hate everything about this album. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, and when I started this project, I prayed a lot about it. Like, God, I want to help this reach people and heal them and help it be the opposite of the negativity we see about Black relationships.
Yeah.
And that happened. And I'm just like, dude. So I checked myself in for a little bit to a hospital because I had to sit still because my thoughts were just too bad. And when I was in there, I just cried, bro. For like, I realized I was crying about so much stuff, bro. I was crying about everything. From, like I said, when I was like 6, 7 years old, all the homies that died, I went to their funerals and didn't cry, it came out. All the siblings, family members, everything, I never cried. It was like 20 years plus of crying was finally all coming out. Not to jump around too much, but I remember the George Floyd thing happened in 2020. And I remember I was driving one day and I kept feeling my face was hot. And I just remember my face was wet, my shirt was wet. And I'm looking just like this, like it's just regular. And I realized, I look in the mirror, nigga, I'm just crying. And I don't know what was happening to me.
Right.
And I realized how angry I was. And stuff like that would happen, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I would cry like that, you know, but this time I'm crying, boo-hooing, you know, wailing. Sorrow. The first time in my life I could say I experienced sorrow. Like, yeah, biblical. And I was confused too, because I'm like, God, I was trying to do this. Like, you know my heart. You know I was serious about this. What the hell is this? You know? And as I sat with what was going on and tried to find the why in it, I realized I asked God to make an album about love. And I was approaching it with a surface, pretty, you know, perception of it.
Mm-hmm.
And God wanted something deeper. So that's when this song came to me. Matter of fact, the song came to me before I reached that realization, because it's how I express myself, is I purge into the music. So I wrote this song literally in my bed in the hospital. I just wrote this song. And excuse me. I'll never forget, the nurse came and was just like, she looked at me. Bro, it's crazy. She was like, so just trying to see like if people need medicine. I didn't need no medicine. They told me like, you have PTSD, you deal with depression, and it was trying to put some medicine, but I'm like, I'm not about to. I'm all right. And she just looked at me. She was like, I'm sorry you're dealing with heartbreak. Nigga, I broke down crying so bad, bro. Because it was the first time that I was acknowledged ever that you're hurting. I'm sorry you're hurting. Ever. People, it's just like people, either I hid it so much that nobody was able to acknowledge, hey, you're going through something, I'm sorry you're dealing with this, or people don't care. So I remember that nurse doing it, and I was like, bro, I just cried some more. So once I got all my crying out, I came back to the studio, and I'm sitting in the studio, and I'm just like, bro, fuck this album, you know? But then I realized I got that song, and I'm like, what if I really talk about love? What if I tell the good parts of love, the fun parts, the sexy parts, and I also tell the heartbreak, the pain? And I was like, but this is a beautiful R&B album. I don't want to just trash it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it switched the whole mode, and people just like, what the hell just happened? You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I was like, there has to be another part of this. And it took me longer than I expected, because I had to live that part, which was loving myself. So when you hear Keep Bleeding, what you're hearing is the point in the album where God said, nah, you said you want to make an album about love. What we doing? And it said, all right, boom. Now what you gonna do? And I feel like that song had to be a part of what started as this pretty R&B album.
Yeah.
Because when we listen to R&B, girl, I love you so much, I need you so much, you complete me. You know, you're my whole world. There's never been a sense of what does it look like when this R&B singer loves himself? How does he even get to love himself? You know? So I felt in a way it was like, all right, this is your origin story. this is your birth into doing R&B, but you got to do it different than it's been done. And that's why Keep Bleeding became part of the record. And everybody that's heard it, men and women alike, you know, because it's not a specific man thing, it's not a specific woman thing. It's a givers give, takers take. Narcissism, personality disorders, all this technical jargon you could use. People are getting hurt and not healing or not knowing how to heal after being hurt, and nobody wants to talk about it.
Yeah.
And especially, like, again, my friend said, bro, I didn't know you had feelings. It's like you Mr. R&B cool player, suave, you could dress, da 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 da. And they was telling you the record stopped. Niggas just like, what? What? But here's the thing. How many men go through the same thing and instead of expressing it, they beat the woman up? Or worse.
A lot.
Or drink. Or you beating the kids up. And that's why, as raw of a moment as it was for me, and like it was times I felt embarrassed. I feel like I'm being weak, da da da. But it came a point where I was like, I see what I'm going through in life right now, and I'm more scared of God than I am of anybody's perception of me. And if I don't do this, what I'm being instructed to do, what I've been praying and focused on doing, I fear those consequences more than somebody thinking a certain thing about me.
Yeah.
So it enabled me to kind of push through and put that record out.
You stream mine? Yeah. Okay, so it's just certain stuff I ain't gonna stream mine is him getting you. He gonna attack you a little bit. But so certain stuff I ain't gonna go to. But when you I'm trying to that's what I want to. Why do you think you held that in for so long? When you talk about from when you were 6 all the way up to the end to where it started busting out in those moments, like have you figured out that thing or those things that made you keep that in for so long?
Well, shout out to, she's like an older sister to me. Shout out to her. She introduced me to the concept of inner child healing. But when she first said it, I'm like, nigga, what kind of goofy? You know what I'm saying? It just sound like woo woo. It sound like it's hippy dippy, whatever. But I always been a hippie. You know
like
what I'm saying?
Hugging trees and
I'm just like, but that's why I'm in my core though. I am a hippie. I am a tree hugger. I am a peaceful. I love yoga, but I grew up having to be something else. So, but she introduced me to the concept of inner child healing, and the idea, I heard of it before, but she really broke it down into a way to hit. You know, sometimes you get information 10 times, but you're not in a place in life to receive it and process it. So it finally hit. And it's just the things that you've dealt with as a child translate into subconscious thoughts and patterns that you'll play out as an adult. So they'll sabotage you. And until you get to that kid at its core, because you're the only adult this kid still has access to. This kid never goes away. He's still inside you. And he tried to reach out to these adults over here, and nobody paid attention. Yeah. Now you the only grown up left. And if you don't pay attention to this kid, he will sabotage stuff and start wrecking everything. So once
that's tough.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's tough.
Yeah. I said, started healing my inner child. He just looked at me and smiled. I really been making peace with the little guy. You know what I'm saying? And that's like, that was everything. What question did you just ask me?
Actually, what do you think had you covering that up for so long?
So the inner child, the inner child has core beliefs. And sometimes we don't stop and assess what we still believe as an adult that we learned as a child. And we don't put our adult brain to the belief system. And I'm the oldest of 5 kids. my youngest sister passed after an injury, and it was years of me like playing third parent, taking care of a special needs child. Then she passed. My family took a big hit. And there's all these things where there wasn't necessarily space for how I felt. There wasn't, because I'm watching my parents go through. We're all going through it. So it's kind of like you just tuck that and keep being a soldier. And I believe that to my core. And then I applied that to when I dealt with my friends, when I dealt with work relationships, when I dealt with romantic relationships. And that was a core belief I was still holding from that little boy.
Yeah.
So it was going in, not even going in. I didn't go in. God set it up beautifully to where I was at ground zero. I didn't have any like bricks and walls of ego still left to hide behind or care what people think about. I'm by myself just crying in the hospital, bro. There's nothing left. So that's when you finally get to the core of certain things. And I was able to kind of start dissecting these things and these beliefs and relearning and acknowledging that kid that was hurt and why was he hurt and what does he need now to feel honored and to feel loved.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know you're worthy of love? You know what I'm saying? That's why I do stuff like I might go-kart driving or go buy a bunch of PS1 video games and play them all day just because that helped honor that little boy who didn't get to do that.
Right. I I call they're not wounds anymore. They're scars, but I call them beautiful scars because they molded me into the person that I am. And the fact that I was able to get over that, but I was able to operate through that, but get over that. That's what makes it a beautiful scar to me and still be the person that I am today.
Mm-hmm.
What does those beautiful scars look like to you? Because you seem to be in a way, the fact that you said it's dope that I even got to think about this stuff where it used to always just be right there, the hurt and stuff like that. That just means you're fully or damn near fully healed when it comes to that stuff. What are those scars you are happy that you like, man? I was built for that.
The emotional scars of like feeling betrayal and people talking about you and laughing at your pain and all these different things. Like, I'm glad that I was able to get that because I have a daughter and I'm moving through life as her father with a false illusion of what this world is and how dark it can get and how foul people can be. And I was ill-equipped to prepare her for it until I experienced it.
Yeah.
So it really, really helped me because I'm like, nah. And it might come across overprotective. I try to find a balance, but it's like I was still naive in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
I was still naive in a lot of ways because I was raised super in the church. I really believe in everything. My family was really like that. So they still are. But even being on tour and all the stuff I seen out there and in the streets, I've seen a lot. But it was just a level when it came to love that like I was just missing a piece there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And now when you say beautiful scars, it's like there was nothing I ever like failed at in life. You know what I'm saying? Not to toot my own horn, but it's like if I try something, I put my mind to it. Like I told you, I wasn't even worried about girls because I'm blacked out about what my goal is.
Mm-hmm.
Starting a family and love whooped my ass so bad. And it was like, how do you even deal with failure? I wasn't used to dealing with failure at anything. It was just like, so it equipped me. And when you say beautiful scars, it's like I love all of that because it's going to enable me to have a conversation with a young black boy who's in a similar situation to what I was, or somebody. It could be a old Asian man. It's just these experiences that you have that help you to share what you gained from it spiritually and help somebody else.
Okay.
So my scars, I guess, are on the inside.
Heavy. Building this, you love we. It's clear that you love yourself now.
Thank you.
If you were to give people a 4-block build, the bottom block being the biggest block, and they're labeled, what would those blocks? What would that biggest block to the smallest block? How would that start? If you was to give it a label and build in love, perfect love. You get what I'm saying? Like,
the first block would be knowing God.
Spiritual.
When you know God and you understand that you are, a physical incarnate of God, and it was intentional. You're here experiencing this whole everything. Like the more you know God, the more you love God, the more you can love yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and you can see God's attributes in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
We got up today. We said, what we gonna do? We're gonna do this interview today. God said, let there be light, and there was. We said, I'm gonna go outside, get in this car. I'm gonna drive to the pizza place. So it's like that ability to um acknowledge that you woke up and you're loved by something so massive, you know. And then once you acknowledge that, you begin to love yourself, and that means in all things, physically, mentally. Just learn to love yourself. Have a standard for yourself. Like, I've always prided myself in being a good friend to other people. I was such a shitty friend to myself. Terrible.
Mm-hmm.
I stand up for the homie. I stand up if you disrespect my homegirl, whatever. We not having it. But me, it's like, oh damn, me, that's having a rough day. No, nigga. Stand on business for yourself. So I had to learn that. And I think that's important too. So after you know God and love God, you love yourself. And then the third block, I would say, for me, it's purpose. It's sense of purpose. And to love my purpose and to love, because that enables you to love the process, because it doesn't always start on 100%. It doesn't always start finished. It's not always pretty. Professionally, family wise, health wise, it's just not how it works. But when you're able to find that purpose and you love that purpose, you're able to hang in there because you know what it's working towards.
You can take the beat.
You're able to pick up, all right, let me add this to my toolbox. I'm gonna need this a few years down the line, and you just picking up all these pieces, and that purpose on that third block. And then the fourth block is where I put family, community. And I struggled because I wanted to put family earlier, but life has just shown me, like, I'm not going to be the best version of myself if I don't master everything within and then come out and give y'all my best. So I put family, relationships, kids, all that there, because they're getting the potency that's been built on the last three blocks.
Mm-hmm. That's heavy. I'm glad you started with spiritual, because that's the strongest piece of foundation you can ever have. Mm-hmm. In closing, could you leave us marked out and then pray us out?
I say love yourself and know yourself. And the more you know God, the more you're going to know yourself. And also, a lot of times our sense of purpose and the thing that we're here to do, you'll find little remnants in it in the things you survived. So if you go back and look at things you survived and you find a common thread,
that's heavy.
And you can find a way to align that with your talents and your gifts, you're going to shift gears in life. It's going to help you to see who's for you, who's not for you. Because when you know I'm on the right path, like I'm doing the right thing, I'm in my bag. So if I bump into you while I'm in my bag, I got time for you. We're going to build. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's what I got for you right now.
That's heavy.
And I hope that I got something more potent and I learn more if I see you in a year. You know what I mean?
I like that. The remnants of things that's heavy. I like that. And pray us out.
Dear God, thank you for blessing us to wake up, see another day, Lord. We come to you with the spirit of gratitude, Lord. We thank you for your mercy and grace, Lord. We thank you for your hand on our lives, God. We thank you for the messages that we're able to receive when we sit still and listen, Lord.
Yes, Lord.
We pray right now for everybody within the sound of my voice, Lord, that whatever it is they're working on right now, whatever it is they're going through or navigating or trying to overcome, God, that you allow them the stillness to just do an analysis on themselves, Lord, to honor themselves, to honor how they feel and what they think, and be realistic with themselves about where they want to go in life, Lord, and let them unlock their greatest potential, Lord, and understand that you are the cornerstone to make it happen, God.
Yes, Father.
I pray that you bless this platform, Lord, that more healing is able to take place from the inspiration in these interviews, Lord, from the honesty and transparency in these interviews, God. Pray that you bless all the leaders, all the teachers, all the role models, all the elders, Lord. Bless them with help and let them complete their mission while they're here on earth, Lord. I pray that you bless the youth, that you bless the adults with discernment and the understanding that these elders do have gems that we need to hear, Lord. They do have things they've overcome and survived, Lord, that can help us, Lord. We pray that you just continue to bless our community, bless our households, Lord, and just strengthen us spiritually, Lord. In your son's name, pray, man.
Amen. The goal is to leave a lasting imprint on their minds and their hearts. We pray you've been indelibly marked.
Yes, Lord.
Appreciate you.
For sure.
I got a little more for you.
Okay, sure.